Hi, my name is Krista Henry. I'm with Haven Realty, and I'm a local residential realtor here in San Antonio. And I am here today to do another powwow with my friend Hector Toledo with BPG Inspections. Hector is the Texas Regional VP and Senior Inspector at BPG. He also provides an extra layer of expertise because he's a civil engineer with over 20 years experience in residential commercial construction. Hector, do you want to share a little bit more about what BPG does for us?
Oh, thank you, Krista. First of all, yeah, we do cover mostly all the inspections or all the things that you wanted to check on a house when you are going to put it on the market or when you're going to purchase a home.
Right.
So we do the regular home inspection, we do termites, we do septics and wells, we do pools, sprinklers. We have new technology like infrared. We check all the roofs. We have drones. We have telescopic poles. You name it. I mean, we offer a very robust package, and we take care of every single corner of the business.
Sure. And you've taken care of several of my clients too, and we truly appreciate it. I think we all know the real estate transaction in general, buying a home can be a really nerve-wracking and stressful experience. First, trying to find a home in general is hard enough.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so then you find the one that you like, and then we have to make sure that it's sound enough to purchase so that we were making a really sound decision in one of the biggest purchases we'll ever make in our lives. And that's where you get to come in. So you come out, you do this like head to toe inspection of the house, and we get this report. And this report, for the most part, it's a pretty long thing. And it's a thing that just says, okay, this isn't necessarily right. This isn't necessarily right. So can you help walk through some people who are maybe reviewing a report for the first time or even several times on what they should be looking for, kind of like what that report means, like how they should maybe ease their concerns in certain ways? And I know that's maybe like a broad thing and really specific in certain instances of a report, but just help people understand that a little bit better.
Sure, Krista. Basically, the Texas report template is only one. We all need to follow it in Texas. There are some differences on softwares or other tools that you can use on your template, but you still need to follow it. Then there are some other differences on the point of view of each inspector, all right? We follow the standards of practice from TRAC, the Texas Real Estate Commission. We all need to follow that, but still is the point of view of the inspector that mandates if certain components are performing as intended or not. So in BPG, we improved, we add some features to the report. And one of the biggest features we have is that we have a key finding summary, all right, which makes it more, I would say, simpler and easier to read for the agents and for the clients. It still is a technical report, but we try to use common words in order to make it easy for the clients to read it. And also in that summary, we use some colors for the items So, for example, the blue items are more maintenance, recommendations, suggestions from the inspector. Um, the red items are more safety concerns, things that need to be repaired or replaced. Um, of course, any major component that is being compromised, it's gonna be there. What is funny though is the red items, the important items on the report. What I tell my clients is it's not only about money, it's about priorities. And I always mention this example. If an outlet cover plate is missing, it's a 40 cents piece,
Right.
but it's a safety hazard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a red item.
Right.
So it's what we try to put together in the report is what are your priorities? Although blues and reds are deficiencies, are our findings on the house. So that's the way we try to make it simpler for them and try to help them to understand what is the magnitude of each deficiency, which is the tricky part when you are reading an inspection report.
Yeah. If you're just reading it blind, then you're just like, oh my gosh, there's another thing. There's another thing. I think you're right. Like having that priority list is super helpful, especially when you re-reference it. Something that's also been super important when I've worked with you is having them there, especially at the end, once you've had a full synopsis of what the house is showing you, to have a face-to-face conversation about what is important, because it can sound scary as all get out on the report. And then when you explain, okay, yeah, that is important, but in all honesty, like that plate cover is more important than what you think sounds super scary.
That is correct. That's trying to put things in perspective,
Right.
try to show them the magnitude of the importance in there.
Yeah.
But always remembering that everything that is in the summary is a deficiency.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are some deficiencies that are kind of grandfathered, and some of them we need to call it out because of the standards of practice.
Right.
Some of them we don't. Just some of them are important to call them out.
Right.
It's you know, it's funny though,
Yeah.
because it's what I tell my guys. Is that guys, you need to understand that we are hired to deliver bad news, and you cannot change the news.
Right.
The only thing you can do is put things in perspective and explain them very well what is the magnitude of that deficiency.
Yeah.
So they can have a better information, they can have a true information in order to make the decision of keep going on the deal, or look for some other options.
So for you, those of you out there that are like these guys, like, what are you talking about? So Hector, in addition to his duties of being an inspector, and he manages a series of inspectors across a huge territory. I'm unsure what the territory is.
It's a very large territory.
Very large territory. So when he's saying that he's not only, he's training gentlemen to understand and explain these scenarios to clients like home buyers that are reviewing their inspection too. So let's quickly segue into, you see these reports, you write these reports, you review these reports from your guys like on a daily. What are some common things that you see pop up reoccurringly, like repairs?
You mean as deficiencies at
Yeah,
home?
as deficiencies, right? Yeah.
I would say one of the most common ones is poor drainage around the foundation. I would say AC units that are not performing efficiently.
Right.
issues on water heaters. With this regulation of having the water pressure in the house not higher than 80, then more and more houses are getting this device, the PRV valve, which is the pressure, water pressure regulator. Um, so when you regulate the water pressure that is going to several houses in the neighborhood, the houses in that neighborhood that do not have that water pressure regulator, then the water pressure in those houses increase.
Yeah.
So that's why more and more the water pressure is high on houses, and then it is needed to have the water pressure regulator. But when you have the water pressure regulator, then you need to install that famous expansion tank on top of the water,
Yeah.
which is the most common questions is why do we need that now? If
Yeah.
10 years ago we didn't need it, well, things changes. So that's about it. I would say in San Antonio, roofs, although it's an important item, it's not one of the most common ones because we got hit with hailstorms in 2014, 2015, 2016, and even in 2017. And actually, last year, that area north of 1604 in the I-10 corridor, about the Dominion and across the I-10 area, they got hit with large hail last year. So let's say that San Antonio's roof are renewed
Right.
somehow. So
Yes.
roof is not. We have some areas, some pockets with in the city with foundation issues. Um, but I would say that the most common ones are AC, the HVAC issues, and water heater issues and exterior drainage. Exterior drainage is one of the most important things.
Right.
And houses that were built maybe 20 years ago or more, they show some poor drainage in some areas that are very important to address, although they are very easy to do.
Yeah. Right. I think the PRV valve is one that we see
Yeah,
coming across all the time
that's a
too.
famous one.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well now like the new water heater restrictions too, like where you have to like lift it up, whereas you didn't necessarily have to lift it up in a certain time like that. And the expansion tank, like that's just a common one that we see. I bring that up because I, again, it's another way of making people understand that what's something that seems like super scary, like it's a thing that you're probably going to see over and over again. And you and I both see that pretty frequently and commonly. So just
Yeah.
rest assured. And I think that's where, so in an instance, like you talked about the AC too, just to touch on kind of the main points, you have a general overview of what that temperature differential is, and it's not maybe functioning according to those regulations. It's not your job to go through the whole AC. It's your job to then say, okay, I think you need to go have it checked out again. And that's when you refer them to an expert, right? That would be your traditional next step.
Yeah, that's correct. We check the installation because we cannot dismantle the unit. We
Right.
cannot break it apart.
Right.
So we check the installation, we check the ductwork, the type of ductwork, the installation of the ductwork, and if there are any leaks in the ductwork or at the plenum, which are those boxes that are the distribution boxes from where the return air is coming in or the supply air is going out. So there are two boxes, one at the entrance, the other one at the outlet. So we checked all of that, and also we checked the efficiency of the unit. Basically, is the temperature and the supply vent versus the return vent. We need to be within a certain distance, no more than 3 feet, if I'm not mistaken, with depending on the thermogun you have. Um, and sometimes we get these arguments with the HVAC guys that they put a thermometer at the exit plenum, and they put another one in the inlet plenum, and then they get a pretty nice differential.
Sure.
But my concern is that I need that differential in the living spaces. So I need to feel that differential in the rooms inside the house. Because if you have that differential, let's say that the air handler is in the attic, if you have that differential in the air handler up there, okay, the equipment is working, but something is happening that the cool air is losing temperature while traveling going through the vent.
Right.
So sometimes there are leaks in the ductwork connections. Sometimes there are kink ductworks, or
Right.
uh, you name it. There are so many different things that can be affecting the system, so you don't have a, a good temperature drop
Yeah.
inside the living spaces.
Right. And that's why it's important to that's why we reference it out to then a more in-depth expert to check it out. Yeah, no, I for sure. Because we don't know all of that. And you're right, you don't have the ability to really completely go through it all. So I get
We
it.
just test systems,
Right.
and we take notes, and we determine if they are working correctly or they need some help.
Yeah. I think overall it's just really important for everyone out there to understand that hiring an inspector who's willing to take the time to explain your concerns, make bring their concerns up to light so that way you understand what's important and what's not important, is an invaluable asset to the home purchasing process. And Hector is an example, and BPG is an example of providing that type of service to their clients. So Hector, I want to really thank you for your time and your expertise and your patience um, throughout the transactions that we've worked together, and your time today. So thank you so much. Do you want have any parting words?
No, thank you, Krista, for the invite. Thank you for letting me explaining some, uh, issues or items related to the
Sure.
inspections. They're always, I mean, we have pretty bad reputation because the inspector is the deal breaker,
Sure.
right? So what we try to do is we need to do our we need to be true to the house. The
Right.
only difference that we can have, and that's what I think, and I am very proud of the crew that we have here in San Antonio, is that we have a really good customer service. It's the only thing that we can add,
Right.
because we need to be true to the house.
Right.
So a good customer service, a good dedication to the client, taking our time, as you mentioned, to explain things, and show the client how the house is performing, how the components are performing. It's actually our main job.
Right. Well, thanks again. We appreciate you, and you have a good one, and we'll talk soon.
You too, Krista. Thank you so much.